stand by that. I think you're going to have a massive buying opportunity here. We may have already seen it in the 9,000, so yeah, I might be trying to be too cute with this, but there's too much money coming into this market. You're going to have an opportunity to have a generational buy in Bitcoin sometime, I would say in the next 6 months.
This game will give you an adventure, and this game will give you a challenge. What about that game? When you play that game, days will blur together. Regular meals are a thing of the past. Friends will become concerned, and the whole time you'll be unsure if you're even having fun.
One eternity later.
Bitcoin, please go to moon.
What's going on, guys? It's K-Dub here with another episode of Crypto Zombie. So today is Friday. That's right. It's the weekend. We made it. Congratulations. Welcome back to the channel. My goodness, if you are still here, getting up every day, watching these videos, you are a trooper. And let's be honest, you probably have the thickest skin out of any of your friends and family if you have to deal with these crazy markets every day. You can see right here, Bitcoin is down another 1.86%. Altcoins are getting hit as well. Not all of them, but some of the higher ones are. So what is going on? Well, today, what I want to talk about is, have we actually bottomed, or are we very, very close to the Bitcoin bottom? You know, you're hearing a lot of Bitcoin bears saying we have to go down to 6K. Some people saying we have to go down to 5K. Well, I'm going to tell you today why I personally think that we may have already seen the bottom, or we are very close. Now, keep in mind, guys, this is just my opinion. I'm just a guy on the internet. Take everything anybody says with a grain of salt. Nobody really knows what's happening, but I'm going to show you exactly why this is what I believe, and I'm going to tell you exactly what I am doing right now, whether it's hodling, trading, or whatnot. I'm going to tell you that, so stick around if you're interested. But you could see right here, even when we fell this morning, right, we did have a drop, but we only fell to $7,817. Now, keep in mind, when we fell to the low before, that was actually $7,700. So we're still putting in higher lows. Now, should we be getting optimistic? Well, that is exactly what we're going to talk about today. And if that sounds good to you, well, you know what to do. Also, if you are not subscribed to the Crypto Zombie channel, well, we do this every single day. As you guys know, it can get a little grueling out there, but that is what we are here for. So let's dive in. Let's have a look. Oh yeah, and of course, guys, if you are new, we do give away a Ledger Nano S hardware wallet because you have to keep your crypto safe and get it off the exchanges. If you're interested, drop a comment and you are eligible for the giveaway every Monday. Now, I'm going to give this a quick refresh live. You'll notice that the Bitcoin dominance, not really moving much, right? So once again, what is going on? Is it going into Tether? Is it going into the altcoins? Well, that is the question everyone is asking. If we switch this to the Bitcoin comparative, okay, there's some coins in the green today, but for the most part, the entire market is, overall being dragged down. In fact, let me show you right here. Scrolling down at the 7-day percentages, you could see, XRP is doing well. It's up 7.4%. Binance up almost 7%, but the majority of these coins, Basic Attention Token up 17%. Few altcoins here and there, but overall, the markets are in a red for the past week, right? Obviously, we're not having very good volume whatsoever. And over at Coin Farm, even though it's slightly towards the buy, you are noticing that the shorts are overtaking the longs, which is saying that the markets are currently bearish. Are you surprised? I can't go on Twitter or YouTube or anywhere without seeing doom and gloom. We're crashing. We're going to the ground, right? So that is the overall market sentiment. So let's talk about this, because there was 10,000 Bitcoin that was transferred to Binance just before the dump. So did that have anything to do with it? Well, to be honest with you guys, we've been seeing dump after dump after dump after dump after dump, okay? Now, I have heard some people say that this could just be miners selling their Bitcoin, right? They need to pay expenses. So while Bitcoin is going sideways, they just sell. That is possible. That is one theory. Let's dive in. Let's have a look at the chart, because what I've actually noticed right here is it actually is starting to look more like an ascending, broadening wedge rather than a bear flag. Now, I'm not saying it still can't behave like a bear flag. We still can't have a dump, but you are noticing that it is getting wider and wider and wider. And if you've watched any of the previous videos on the channel, I think it was like the last 3 times Bitcoin did this, it actually had a massive move to the upside. However, currently we are in a little bit of a downtrend right now. So will it do the opposite? Well, that is the question, because let's be honest right here. If you do think that we're going to have to go and retest the top of this channel, if we get stomped out at the green line, That's almost a 12%, pump. And if we go all the way up to the top, well, you could be looking at a 14 to 15% pump. And if you are using leverage, that could be a nice scalp trade. But I know what you're saying, K-Dub, it's way too bearish. There's no way we're going up. We have to go down, right? That's what everybody's saying. Well, I mean, yes, we do have basically the Bollinger Bands looking like they want to explode for a massive move. We are sitting below the basis, which is bearish, right? And we're sitting below the 200 daily moving average, which is bearish. And we've been putting in lower highs and lower lows, which is bearish on the macro, right? So we should probably just keep dumping, right? That it makes sense. Everything on the charts is bearish. So we should definitely dump, right? Well, let's dive in. Let's have a look, because you're seeing a lot of people start to talk about the possibility of this bearish death cross, right? So basically we have the two moving averages. We have the 50, which is the yellow golden color, looking like it basically wants to cross with the 200. Now you can see right here, we had a golden cross and boom. We pumped up, right? Now, keep in mind that these moving averages, they are a little bit lagging, especially the higher you go. You can see right here, we had the massive pump and then we had the cross. But I just want to point out one thing. If we actually go back in history of Bitcoin, there are many scenarios in which there are fake out death crosses or death crosses that only last for like a week and then instantly reverse. So yeah, we don't really know yet, they haven't quite touched. Not to mention the fact that some people think that in order for it to be a true bear cross, they have to both be facing downwards, where as you can see, this pink line is clearly still sloping upwards, even though it looks like it's kind of curving like this. So is it a true death cross? Well, you can go back in history over here and you can see a lot of scenarios, which look, we had a bit of a fake out right here, right? We had the dump and then people said, oh my goodness, bear cross, right? And what did we do? We actually essentially just consolidated for a little bit and then actually spiked literally all the way up to pretty much new all-time highs back in November of 2015. So that was one scenario. If you go back here, you could see another one. Now this was a golden cross flip where we thought we were going to go to the upside and we actually ended up getting faked out and went to the downside. In fact, here's another situation right here in which we thought that they were going to touch, and then look, they actually just kind of rode along each other, right? They didn't do it, right? So you can't always go by all of these moving averages, right? But the one thing I do need to point out is if you're new to cryptocurrency, you may think that this is crazy to take a 44% dump, right? But if you look at what Galaxy BTC said, people waiting for the 6K Bitcoin keep forgetting one thing. In bull markets, Bitcoin drops 40% and then doubles its price. But I know, I can already hear the criticism, but Bitcoin it didn't dump 44% in the massive run up in 2017. Well, number one, that was an insanely overly speculative bubble, which I think we can all agree on. But number two, what you really need to be looking at is the halvings, and you need to be thinking about the stock to flow ratio. That is one of the most beautiful things about Bitcoin that separates it from any other commodity that there is out there. And actually, like Rect Capital pointed out, Bitcoin does do 44 to 45% retracements just before the halving. In fact, look right here. Bitcoin had its massive pump, it had its bear market dump, and then we had this little fake out rally with a 45% retracement before we went into the next run up, okay? And then after the first halving, you can see Bitcoin had its next basically all-time high. We went into the bear market, we had our pump, and then again we had a 40% retracement, and then recently we had a 44% retracement. So 40% to 45% is actually the normal amount to retrace, especially given where we are right now. You see, we're not talking about these run-ups when you're in the parabolic bull run. We're talking about the lead up to the halving event, which is happening in May, and we know that Bitcoin has never put in an all-time high before the halving. In fact, it tends to go sideways for most of that time. So actually, when you zoom out and have a look at this, there's nothing weird about what's happening except for the fact that we're living in the moment and, kind of hurts a little bit to be going through it, right? But hindsight is always 2020. And, having a look at what this thing has done in the past, I can certainly tell you that the question has been answered. No, the halving has not been priced in, okay? One thing I do want to point out as well, we have been supported here by the 100 weekly moving average, not one, not two, not three, but currently 4 times right now, okay? I understand the month has not officially closed just yet, but that being said, we're basically going on our 4th, week. I meant to say week, not month. Sorry, it's getting a little crazy out here in crypto land. We've been 4 weeks, okay? I know Probably a lot of people were getting triggered because I said month, but it's been 4 weeks. But here's the other thing too, okay? Some people have been speculating, oh, well, you know what's happening. Basically what happened at the end of 2017 when everybody started going into the altcoins and then Bitcoin's price dumped and then the altcoins had one massive pump. So is that what's going on right now? Because, you know, we are seeing the altcoins get into this wedge, and if they do get lower and lower, it looks like they're basically going to look for a massive blast off. But also keep in mind that they really respond more to Bitcoin's movement rather than just charting the altcoins. You can see the altcoins really essentially don't have any thing that really shows a key breakout, except I guess you could say this wedge right here. But actually, if we look at what Bitcoin has been doing, and I spoke about this yesterday, Bitcoin forms a wedge, it pumps. It starts to form a falling wedge. It pumps. It forms another falling wedge. It pumps. It's currently forming another falling wedge, and it looks like we're at the very end, or at least we're getting close to the very end. Now, let me ask you, what do you think is going to happen? Do you think we're going to dump all the way down to the bottom of this line and the altcoins are going to rally? Or do you think it's more likely that Bitcoin has another breakout again? And do note that all of these breakouts were accompanied with a massive price explosion to the upside. In fact, this first major consolidation that we had right here marked the beginning of the 2019 massive run to the top, okay? So that's what I wanted to point out. And having a simple look at basically this giant wedge that we are in falling, you could see right here, there's actually currently a lot more support than there is resistance. We had a lot more resistance previously. You could see right here, actually, if I switch this back, look at, we had this downwards line, we had this downwards trend, we had this support right here. No wonder this got to the end. It had nowhere else to go and it fell. And currently, what you can see right here is Bitcoin is being supported essentially by this trend back here. Let me actually switch it to something smaller, like or a larger time frame, like the daily or something like that. I know this is looking a little crazy, guys. Don't get freaked out. Don't get freaked out, okay? So basically, if we look at this yellow line right here, you can see it acted as resistance and support down here, except for when Bitcoin fell below it, in which then it was essentially the resistance. But this is the trend that Bitcoin was putting in. And you could see it wouldn't be uncommon if Bitcoin was to fall down to these levels. So could Bitcoin touch the $7,400 level? It's possible. That's why I said I think we are close to the bottom, or we may have already put the bottom in, okay? Because there's a very good chance that this yellow line right here may just continue to support us. And as we get to the end of this, basically looking at around November 10th, you could be looking for some sideways accumulation for a major blast off, okay? Or the bearish side, in my opinion, I think the lowest that Bitcoin is going to go is around the $7,000 level. We have the 7.2K level as the golden retracement for the Fibonacci, right? But one thing you want to look at right here is this massive support, this trend right here that we had. You could see back here on September 2nd, it actually acted as resistance, okay? Bitcoin was rejected. Once it got back above it, then Bitcoin actually tried to fall down again, and you could see we wicked down right here on October 18th, where this line then became support. And if you want to see something extremely mind-blowing, keep your eye on this red line. It also became support during the entire bear market. 1, 2, 3, and it tried the fourth time and it simply could not support it. And you could see right here, okay, and you can't make this up. I have not changed this line at all. When we had this massive dump right here, which was a pretty incredible dump. It was from the top to the bottom. It was about a 17% dump. And, that was back during May 17th. We literally perfectly respected that line. So you could see moving forward the significance of this line. It is very, very important, which is why I personally think if Bitcoin was to get to the bottom of this, I just don't see us going below $7,000, guys. So that's my personal opinion. If you think I'm absolutely wrong, drop a comment below. Tell me I don't know what I'm talking about and we got to go lower, guys. But personally, I think that the 45% pullback was absolutely normal. I think we could go a little bit lower, maybe down to like 50%. We could go down to about 7.2K, only because this run up happened a lot faster. So, the bigger they are, the harder they fall, faster it runs up, faster it pulls back, right? But that is my level that I'm looking at. So as you can see right here, also looking at the 0.667 level, that is another level to keep your eyes on, and 0.76 as well. But what am I doing? That is the question. Or what have I done? Well, To be completely honest with you guys, full transparency, I'm actually currently in a long. I actually was able to put in the long down here during the dip this morning. Now, I just want to let you guys know, it is a low leverage long, okay? And I do have a stop. And it is literally about 5% of my portfolio. I am okay with losing all of this money, okay? But the reason that I'm doing this is because I don't want to wait for it to go any lower. I just don't want to wait for it to go, or if it even does go down to these levels, because it might not. We might be faked out. And honestly, this is like textbook Bitcoin pullback. So currently, yes, I am in a low leverage long. It is a swing. Actually, it's not even a swing. It's kind of like a long-term play for me. I do plan on riding this out. Now, the other thing too, just so you guys know, the reason that I do suggest having 2 Bybit accounts is in case you do want to play scalp trades versus like these swing or long-term plays, right? But that's just what I'm doing. I'm fully comfortable with losing what I have. I have a stop loss set in. And yeah, I mean, for me, guys, this is low enough. I don't really personally feel a need to go any lower than this. And if we do go lower, I'm still looking at 7,000 as the bottom, which I won't get liquidated because I have low enough leverage. And guys, by the way, if you're getting liquidated, what are you doing? You're using way too high of leverage, okay? But essentially, that is what I'm doing, guys. So we'll see what happens. Even if we take a little bit of a lower dump, I'm not worried. I'm comfortable with my position and I'm happy with my entry, okay? But here's the other thing, guys. Talking about Bitcoin. So Bitcoin has died 377 times according to the Bitcoin obituaries. That's a lot of articles written about Bitcoin saying that Bitcoin is never going to come back again. And yet every single time it rises like the phoenix from the flames. So having a look at this, one thing I wanted to point out, you could see right here that there was a study according to dollardays.org. And before you chime in on this, I know you're going to say, oh, that study wasn't right. I'll get to that in just a second, okay? Out of 775 fiat currencies, essentially 20% failed through hyperinflation, 21% were destroyed by war, 12% destroyed by independence, 24% were monetarily reformed, and 23% are still in circulation, approaching one of the other outcomes. The average life expectancy for a fiat currency is 27 years. I know what you're saying. The dollar was created in 1913. We still have it. It's been 100 years. I'm getting to that in just a second, okay? You can see right here, you have at a ripe old age of 317 years is the the British pound sterling, right? However, if you look at it right now, the British pound was defined as 12 ounces of silver, so it's worth less than 1/200th or about 0.5% of its original of its original value. And you can see right here, like Willy Woo says, Bitcoin has already reached 40% of the life expectancy of the average fiat currency, 27 years. The most successful fiat currency has lost 99.5% value. Now, I know what you're saying. There's a report that came out over here. This came out from John Paul Koning, and basically he's saying you're wrong. This isn't true. This is just something that gold bugs and crypto people tell people. Fiat systems have survived for a long, long time. Okay, you're right. The dollar's been around for over 100 years, but has it retained its purchasing power? No, it has not. If you had $100 in 1913, that same $100 now has the purchasing power of a $5 bill, and it might even be less than that by today's standards. So when you consider fiat surviving, do you consider losing 95% of your value over the course of 100 years surviving? Compared to what Bitcoin has done in just a decade, yes, we fell down from 20K to 14K to 8K, but Bitcoin also started as nothing. It started as an experiment. Nobody put it in your hands and said, this is a dollar. Treat it as such. This is the value. No. It didn't. And Bitcoin is the hardest asset on planet Earth. And if you're having doubts out of all of this time that you've been accumulating and watching these videos, my question is, not you specifically watching, but to an individual who is concerned right now, I mean, were you just in it for a quick buck? Or did you actually see the long-term value of Bitcoin? You have to ask yourself that. Why are you actually here? So that's basically the note that I wanted to leave it on, guys. I think that was enough of a rant for today. But yes, I do believe that the bottom was either already in, or I think we are very, very close to the bottom. That's my opinion. I could be totally wrong. I'd love to be wrong, guys. It's fun, right? But at the same time, I've watched these charts for so long that it just seems to me it's kind of enough. It might kind of be enough, right? But we'll see what's going on. What are we doing right now? And we're trying to break some resistance as usual. So let's talk about some altcoin news and then let's get on out of here. Starting with everyone's favorite altcoin, we have Binance, BNB, right? So their futures platform has officially broken 700 million daily volume despite the Bitcoin lull. So that's pretty good news for Binance. In fact, you can see right over here, people were kind of shocked to see that they're actually offering a 125x leverage. If you use 125x leverage, I'm not going to give my opinion on that because I think you know how I feel. You pretty much deserve to lose your money. But that being said, guys, if you're a US citizen, guess what? You can't trade on Binance futures because they KYC'd you on the original Binance. So yeah, that's pretty much why I use Bybit. They have a decent amount of liquidity. You can see right here, they have, 66,823 Bitcoin. I mean, I would say that's plenty of liquidity for the average trader. So if you guys haven't checked out Bybit, like I said, I do recommend having 2 accounts if you're going to do swings and scalps. I will drop my tutorial above. Obviously, I do have links below. You don't have to use them. They do help out the channel. But moving on to some other news as well, we have seen XRP. They've been doing quite well recently. In fact, they're one of the few coins that are actually up in the green percentage this week. A lot of people are getting excited for the Swell conference. And we've also heard some things about Bank of America maybe secretly working, with Ripple and stuff like that. Now, keep in mind, for XRP, fans out there, I think the key really is to try to use the token. You really do want to see XRapid get used, which creates demand for XRP. But, that's my opinion. I don't know, speculation did a really good job in 2017 for all the altcoins. So that's basically that situation. And one altcoin actually that despite, it's been a really bad time recently for altcoins, actually did have a hard fork, and that was Qtum. So if you guys have been following, they had it at, it was block 466000, upgrading the Qtum network to unlock a number of significant features, essentially smart contract and block spacing improvements. So you can see right here, basically the purpose was to upgrade the blockchain, not to make a new coin, okay? So Qtum 2.0 activates the Qtum improvement proposals that introduce a number of performance enhances and new features. Now, keep in mind, I do want to just say, if you are a Qtum holder, you might want to listen to this. Essentially, they're adding signature verification to the output script of the contract transaction. They're adding BTC. Some of these are a little bit technical, I'm not going to lie, but they upgraded the Qtum EVM, modified the difficulty adjustment. But the real thing I wanted to let you guys know is that they do recommend that users update to version 0.18.1 as soon as possible. So if you have not done that, please do that. And then the new features will be automatically available as of, that block. So they did warn that sending or staking coins with the old version of the wallet after the fork will lead to a temporary loss of the coins, but do you want to take that risk? I certainly don't. And actually, as you can see, they actually did respond to the, even though it's been going down a little bit because Bitcoin has, they actually were one of the few that actually had a nice response to the news. But I do want to end on some good news. You guys know I always end on good news on the channel. So Fidelity is looking to expand its Bitcoin operations. So wait, what's going on here? I thought Bitcoin's going to zero. I thought we're falling, come on, guys. Like, why would Fidelity do this? Well, they actually revealed in their recent report that Fidelity Investments, one of the world's largest financial service giants, has long dabbled in Bitcoin. They revealed that they're ramping up their crypto operations. Fidelity Digital Asset Service, the firm's crypto division, is now engaged in full rollouts of its custody and trading services for digital assets. So, why is this so important? Well, considering that Fidelity Digital Asset Service was only serving a small select portion of clients for the most part of this year, the new report could imply that the firm might be looking to offer Bitcoin custody and trading solutions for its thousands of institutional clients that have billions, even trillions under management. And if you don't see the significance of this, imagine all of these financial advisors advising their clients that, you might want to hedge your portfolio at least 1% into Bitcoin, or maybe 2%, or maybe 5% into Bitcoin, all right? Let's not get ahead of ourselves. Let's say 1%. If you have 1% of the trillions of dollars under management going into, Bitcoin and cryptocurrencies, think about what that alone could just do to the space. So on that note, guys, I do want to leave the video. I do understand that, when you look at stuff like this, you can start to get bearish. You can start to kind of feel like it's doom and gloom. It just seems like Bitcoin's never going to recover. But honestly, this is what it feels like every single time Bitcoin does this. So you kind of just get used to it and you kind of get desensitized. And yeah, I might be taking this a little bit too easy. maybe, but it also could just be the fact that I've lived through a ton of 40% pullbacks and also an 85% dump from the all-time high. Yeah, so really, I'm not that fazed by it. So, if you're new and you're getting through this one, you're probably gonna not care about the next one either. So that being said, guys, I know it was a little bit long of a video. I know the video came out a little bit late, but I had a lot of stuff to do this morning, and I also had a lot on my mind, and I really just wanted to kind of put out my opinion and let me know if you guys agree with it. If you, if you don't, that's fine. We don't always have to agree eye to eye. That's the beauty of having an opinion, right? But that being said, thank you so much for coming back to the channel. Obviously, guys, regardless, bear market, bull market, 10K Bitcoin, 20K Bitcoin, 3K Bitcoin, I'm not going anywhere. This is what I love. I believe in Bitcoin long term. And just because you believe in, do you lose faith just when times get hard? If you have faith in something, but times get difficult, do you lose faith? No, you don't. Or maybe you never had faith in the first place, right? So on that note, I'm just going to leave it. And I think you know where I put my faith in. And yeah, actually, the interesting thing about Bitcoin is you don't even have to trust it. You could just verify.